Good day, sir. I'm Sir Nastalero. Analyzing the internal organization. The context of internal analyzing in the global economy traditionally factors such as labor cost, access to financial resources and raw materials, and protected or regulated markets continue to be source of competitive advantage, but to a lesser degree, mostly because the advantage created by these or more traditional sources can be overcome by competitors through an international strategic strategy by the flow of resources throughout the global assumptions of a single country, culture, or context. Increasingly, this analysis their firm's internal environments should use a global mindset, like the ability to study an internal environment in ways that are not developed dependent on the assumptions of a single country, culture, or context. Analyzing of the firm's internal environment requires that evaluators examine the firm's portfolio of resources and the bundles of heterogeneous resources and capabilities managers have created understanding how to leverage the firm's unique bundle of resources and the capabilities is a key outcome decision makers seek when analyzing the internal environment. By using or exploiting their core competencies, firms are in a position to develop and perform value creating strategy better than their competitors, or to create and perform value creating strategies that competitors either or are unable or unwilling to imitate. Components of internal analysis leading to competitive advantages and strategic competitiveness. As the illustrate in the figure 3.1, a firm tangible and intangible resources, for example, its facilities and corporate culture respectively represent sources of capabilities. Next, those capabilities, such as teams or bundles of resources, represent source of core competencies. Third, when exploited and nurtured and valuable, costly to imitate, rare and non-sustainable, core competencies are potential source of competitive advantage. Lastly is, if a firm is able to use its core competencies to achieve a competitive advantage, it will achieve strategic competitiveness and earn above average returns so long as competitors are unable to unwillingly to imitate them successfully. Creating values. Some thoughts on creating values. Firms created values by exploiting core competencies and meeting the standards of global competitors. Second is value is measured by the product's performance and by its attributes for which customers are willing to pay. Third is the firm must provide value to customers that is superior to the value provided by competitors in order to create a competitive advantages. So dito po, kailangan ng firm na i-value lahat ng ibibigay nila sa consumers para um, mapahalagahan din po ng consumers yung kanilang work. And next is customers perceive higher value in global rather than domestic only brands. Mas pinipili ng mga consumers ang mga produkto na globally rather than domestic na pang isang brand lang. Tapos, firm create value by innovatively bundling and leveraging their resource and capabilities. Next is the ultimately value is the foundation for earning above average profits. Third, lastly, core competencies combined with product market positions are the most important source of advantages. Next is that the core competencies of a firm, in addition to analysis to of its general industry and competitor environment, should drive its selection of strategies.
The challenge of analyzing the internal organization, correctly identifying, developing, deploying, and protecting firm resources, capabilities, and core competencies requires managers to make difficult decisions. In part, these challenges are a result of characteristic of both internal and external environmental of the firm. This challenge is multiplied because of condition the characteristics important strategic decision, uncertainty, complexity, and inter-organization conflict. Uncertainty regarding the assessment of general and industry environment, assessment and predictability of competitive action and customer preference. Strategic leader need to be aware to how bias affect decision about to cope with uncertainty and how to manage resources and capabilities to form core competencies. So, tungkol naman dito sa kapaligiran ng industriya na nagkakaroon ng competition at action at mga gusto ng mga customer. Complexity regarding the nature of any interrelatedness of cause of change in the environment and the how environments are perceived, especially regarding decisions as to which of the firm resources and capabilities might serve as the foundation for competitive advantage. Dito naman sa complexity ay nagpapasya kung anong pagkukunan dahil sa pagkakaugnay ng sanhi at pagbabago ng kapaligiran. Intra-organizational conflict among managers making decision about which core competencies are to be nurtured and about how the nurturing should take place. Dito naman daw ay sa madaling salita, kasalungatan. Halimbawa, kakayahan na dapat pangalagaan at kung paano maganap ang pag-aalaga. Condition, uncertainty. Uncertainty exists about the characteristic of the firm's general and industry environment and customer needs. Complexity. Complexity results from the international shift among conditions shaping a firm. Intra-organizational conflict. Intra-organizational conflict exists among managers making decisions as well as among those affected by the decisions. Uncertainty is present because of the inherent difficulty in identifying, assessing, and predicting change and trends in characteristic of the external environment. Among these characteristics are correctly predicting the extent, direction, and timing to change in the general environment, such as those resulting from societal values, political and economic conditions, customer preference, and emerging technologies from other industries, and how they might ultimately affect the firm. Complexity is increased because of the uncertain nature of international shift among the characteristic of the external environment and the related challenge regarding how to access the accept of change in the one offset characteristic. On other characteristic, the issue becomes more complex when manager much relate the complex external environment to their assessment of firm's internal environment and thus aspect decision regarding the firm sources capabilities and core competencies and their relationship to opportunities in the external environment that can be exploited successfully to achieve a competitive advantage. Dito naman daw ay ang issue ay nagiging mas komplikado kapag ang mga tagapamahala ay inuugnay ang komplikadong kapaligiran. Intra-organizational conflict often develop as a result of uncertainty and complexity. When managers make decisions regarding the identification or firm capabilities and choose to nurture them with resources to develop core competencies that can be exploited to achieve a competitive advantage. They must make this important decision without absolute certainty that decision incorrect, and such decision may result in change or shift in power interrelationship among individuals and group within firm. When it occurs, there are may be conflict as those two who affected adversely or perceive that they will be too affected may resist the change. In some case, manager faced with decision that may have unpleasant consequences or unforgettable often experience denial and consequence coping mechanism used to block out and not initiate major change that may have some pain associated with them. Those manager that must make decision under condition of uncertainty, complexity, and intra-organizational conflict must exercise judgment, a capacity for making a successful decision in a timely manner then when no correct model available or when relevant data are unreliable or incomplete. When exercising judgment, decision make often take intelligent risks in the current competitive landscape. Executive judgment can be a particularly important source of competitive advantage. One reason is that over time, effective judgment allows a firm to build a strong reputation and retain the loyalty of stakeholders whose support in lead to about average return. Significant change in the value creating potential or firm resources and capabilities can occur a rapidly changing global economy. Because there are change affect a company power and social structure. Interior or resistant to change that may surface even to the his reaction may happen. Decision makers should not deny the change needed to acquire the firm strategy competitiveness. By denying the need to change, difficulty ex- experiments can be avoided in the short run.
Resources, capabilities, and core competencies. Resources are the elements that go into production process of companies such as capital equipment, individual employees' abilities, brands, financial resources, and talented management. Resources by themselves or all by themselves typically won't help a business gain a competitive edge. To create a capability, they must be incorporated and coupled with other firm resources. When these qualities are recognized and developed, they can become core competencies and provide a competitive edge. Both actual and intangible resources are available to a company. The strategic focus profiles Coca-Cola and Kinder Morgan and discusses some of the ways they have used resources to add for their customers. The primary areas of focus for Kinder Morgan include physical resources such as storage facilities, liquid transportation asset, pipe and pipeline networks, and financial assets, produced via innovative tax strategies for cash and dividend distribution. Coca-Cola uses a variety of food materials and intangible resources to generate value. Strong brands that cover the entire product line are examples of intangible resources, based on well-managed image from marketing capabilities. Financial resources and sizable storage facilities are tangible resources that support the company's expanding juice industry and cutting-edge distribution system. For example is buying books because you can buy a book right away and it counts as a resources. Considering that you may purchase one and have it delivered, a physical server is an example of resources.
Tangible resources. A tangible asset has a finite value and a physical existence. Financial resources such as borrowing capacity, organizational resources such as its formal reporting structure and systems, physical resources such as location, technological resources such as patents and trademarks. Examples of tangible assets are machinery, building, vehicles, land, or something that's literally tangible can be touched. A rock is tangible, so a broken window, if the rock is laying next to the next window, it could be tangible evidence of vandalism. When we say that the tension in a room is tangible, we mean we feel it strongly, that it seems almost physical. Intangible resources, human resources such as knowledge, trust, and managerial capabilities. Innovation resources such as scientific capabilities and the capacity of innovate. Reputational resources such as the firm's reputation with customers or suppliers. An intangible asset does not have a physical existence, but it possesses a monetary value. It occupies an important position in the company's balance sheet and can shore up its overall valuations. In a long-term and stock of strategic information and intangible assets that the organization can employ as needed in pursuit of its goals. Here are the examples of intangible assets are intellectual property rights, copyright, company logo, goodwill, patents, trademarks, and so on.
Capabilities. Capabilities develop over time o nabubuo sa paglipas ng panahon as a result of complex interaction that takes advantage of the interrelationships sa pagitan ng firms' tangible at intangible resources that are based on the development o pagbuo, transmission, at pagpapalitan o pagbabahagi ng impormasyon at kaalaman tulad ng isinasagawa ng mga employees. A firm's ability o kakayahan ng isang kumpanya to achieve a competitive advantage is thus reflected in its knowledge base and the ability of its human capital to successfully exploit firm's capabilities. Kaya, human capital is a significant value in the firm's ability to develop capabilities and core competencies to achieve strategic competitiveness. The knowledge possessed by the firm's human capital, ito ay maaaring one of the most significant resources of a firm's competitive advantage dahil kinakatawan nito ang lahat ng natutunan ng kumpanya. At sa gayon, ang lahat ng nalalaman nito tungkol sa successfully leaking or building cells of individual resources upang mabuo ng capabilities bilang isang foundation for developing core competitiveness and ultimately to achieve a competitive advantage. In this part, capabilities are essential building blocks to the company. Kaya iyon ang dahilan kung bakit mahalagang maunawaan kung ano ang capabilities o mga kakayahan bago simulan o gamitin ang mga ito. A capabilities is therefore an ability to be able to do something as a company or a capacity and expertise na kailangan ng isang kumpanya upang matupad o ma-fulfill ang mga pangunahing tungkulin nito. Next reporter.
Core competencies in business. A business can choose to be operationally excellent in a number of different ways. Below are common core competencies found in business. Greatest quality products. This core competency means the company's products are most durable, long-lasting, and most reliable. The company will likely have invested in the strongest quality control measures, technically proficient workers, and high-quality raw materials. Most innovative technology. This core competency means the company is an industry leader in its sector. The company will likely have invested heavy amounts of capital into research and development, holds many patents, and hires experts in respective fields. Best customer service. This core competency means customers have the greatest experience during and after their purchase. The company will likely have invested in training for staff, large numbers of customer service representatives, and processes to manage exceptions or issues as they arise. Largest buying power. This core competency leverages a company's economy of scale. This company will likely have invested in mergers or acquisitions and have built up strong relationships with vendors to gain favorable pricing or service. Strongest company culture. This core competency promotes the internal atmosphere of the business. The company aims to attract the best talent by investing heavily in employee recognition, development, or collaborative fun events. Fastest production or delivery. This core competency means the company is able to make or ship items the fastest. The company will likely have invested in connected software systems as well as production processes and distribution relationships. Lowest cost provider. This core competency means the company charges the lowest price among comparable goods. The company will likely have invested in the most efficient processes that reduce of labor or material input. Highest degree of flexibility. This core competency allows the company to quickly pivot in response to business opportunities or challenges. The company will likely have invested in cross-training across employees or nimble software solutions.
Building core competencies. This section discusses two conceptual tool frameworks firms can use to identify competitive advantage. For criteria determine which of firm resource and capabilities are core competencies. Value chain analysis of tool for determine which value creating competencies should be maintained, upgraded, and developed, and which should be outsourced. For criteria for sustainable competitive advantage, for criteria should be used to determine whether or not firm capabilities are core competencies and can be source of competitive advantage. The four criteria of sustainable strategic capabilities. Number 1, valuable capabilities. It helps firm neutralize threat or exploit opportunities. Number 2, rare capabilities are not possessed by many others. Costly to imitate capabilities. Historical, a unique and valuable organizational culture or brand name. Ambitious cost, the cost of and uses of a competence are unclear. Social complexity in interpersonal relationship, trust, and friendship among the manager, supplier, and customer. Number 4, non-sustainable capabilities. No strategic equivalent. What is competitive advantage? Competitive advantage refers to the factors that allow company to produce goods or service better or more cheaply than its rivals. These factors allow the productive entity to generate more or sales or superior margin compared to its market rivals. Competitive advantage are attributed to variety of factors including cost structure, branding, and quality of product offerings. The distribution network, intellectual property, and customer service. Competitive advantage is what makes entity products or service more desirable to the customer than that of other rivals. Competitive advantage can be broken down into the comparative advantage and differential advantage. Competitive advantage is company ability to produce something or more efficiently than a rival, which leads to greater profit margins. A differential advantage is when company products are seen as both unique and of higher quality relative to those of competitors.